everyone. We hope that you're doing well. This is the recorded webinar, as we promised, that we send out for today. Won't take very long, just have a few things to go over and a few reminders. IRMA was a nice reminder for us of why it is so important to plan meetings weeks out before the deadlines are due. So we are glad to hear that everybody is well and safe from IRMA. But again, just a little reminder to us that we need to make sure we plan meetings ahead of time and not right before they're due. So when things like this happen, we aren't out of compliance with annual reviews and reevals and things like that. So again, make sure you're planning these meetings well before they're due in case situations arise, such as weather or sickness, parent illness, student illness, something like that. So just a gentle reminder of things that are due. Another item we wanted to go over was the COSEF, or the Child Outcome Summary Form. So just a few reminders, as this has caused a lot of questions from both Emily and I to the state and from you guys to us. So, you're going to do a COSEF for any child that transfers to your school between the ages of 3 and 7. So make sure that when you're requesting those IEPs and other forms that you're also requesting COSEF entry and exit forms for students as well that are between those ages, I should say. If the sending district did not do the appropriate form, please do one. So if you have a child that transfers in, is 4 years old, you didn't get a COSEF form and the sending district said we never completed one, then you need to go ahead and do one and do it as entry. And keep your documentation of requesting the information from the previous district. For any student that transfers to you and turns 6 over the summer, complete an exit form. So we realize the date and the age is 6, but we want you to go ahead and complete that exit form if it's not received from the sending district. For any student that qualifies for services at least 6 months before their 6th birthday, do an entry form. For any student that transfers, revokes services, no longer qualifies before their 6th birthday, do an exit form. When a child turns 6, do an exit form. So basically, when in doubt, just do it. Either do an entry or an exit, depending on the child's age. If you don't get it from a sending district, please complete one. If the child leaves, even if they're not 6, please complete one. We want to make sure that we have both an exit and an entry into Enrich. So the staff documentation for our ID Part B audit, remember that's going to be due on the 22nd. We sent out the webinar. I sent it out last week. It's also posted on the bookshelf, as will this one be. So please review that. If you have any questions, like some of you have, please make sure that you reach out to Emily or I. I know there was a question in regards to signatures. So that special ed person on that signature page would be you as a special ed coordinator. I believe it also asks for the HR person, so that can be your principal or your data person, someone to just verify that the information you're submitting is true and accurate. When you request records, so you can use this link to contact record folks at each district. So it should remain up to date, but remember, you're going to contact, if you know the school, the exact school the child is coming from, you need to contact that school first, whether it be their guidance department or attendance or whoever. But you want to try and reach out to the school directly first, and then if you don't hear anything, then reach out to the district. Don't just go straight to the district. Reach out to the school first, if you know it. If you don't, then you have to go to the district first. A few reminders about your 30-day meetings and finalization. Those 30-day meetings should be coming up soon for some of you. So make sure you're reviewing your policies and procedures to see what they say about finalizing your documents in Rich. Remember, those are procedures and policies that you developed at your school for what's going to work for you. So make sure you're following what you say you're doing or what you say you will do. Remember, a document is not official until it's finalized. So things in draft form don't count, and that could cause you to miss out on funding, or it could cause you to miss deadlines. So everything needs to be finalized in order for that to be considered officially done. 30-day meeting should be either an amendment or, as we strongly recommended at our in-service in July, an annual review. But if you do an amendment, be sure to change the end of the transfer comparable services plan to the original end date of the transfer IEP. Also remember, if you do only an amendment and you accept that IEP from the previous district, you are accepting and taking responsibility for any compliance issues that may be in that IEP. That's why we're strongly recommending doing an annual review so we know those IEPs will be compliant, especially with an audit coming up this year. But for best practice, it would be best practice to do that as an annual review. Remember, your changes are going to be made based on your data. So in those 30 days, the team should have been collecting some data, getting some updated present levels. They'll have some current testing information and having all of that to put into a new IEP. If you choose to do an annual. If you're doing an amendment, then please make sure you do update that information as well. Another thing we're finding is not all schools are uploading the signatures from the meeting of notice responses. So please be sure when you're uploading your signature pages for the IEPs, you're also uploading the signature pages from the notices of meetings from the parent and the student if the student is 13 years or older. A little reminder about the portal, the LWS portal. So any communication that we have on approval, denial, changes needed, or anything in any of the submissions will take place through that portal. So we're currently working on looking at IEPs for our other audit, for our Part B audit, and then Emily and I will begin starting to look through the policies and procedures and some of that other documentation that you all have submitted. We'll provide that feedback right through the portal again. So make sure you're logging in regularly and checking those items due and those feedback, because in some cases we may say, this looks great, but you need to add this, and then you'll have an opportunity to resubmit something. A few upcoming reminders. So there's a face-to-face training for schools chosen for the on-site monitoring on 9/12 here in Columbia at our office from 10 to 2. So those required attendees are going to be YPA, Felton, Whitmore, Bridges, Green, and Meyer Center. So you are the lucky chosen ones that will have an on-site visit from the State Department. So that meeting will go over what those visits will look like, and there will be some additional information we'll need from students' IEPs that we'll submit for those specific schools. Also remember, our general ed survey, parent survey, and the staffing sheet that we talked about a few minutes ago are all due on 9/22, and those submissions will be done through the portal. So our next webinar will be October 10th at 1. We'll also be sending out the names for the Part B audit for those IEPs. We'll be choosing those by September 18th. So you would be getting an email from Emily or I in regards to IEPs we've reviewed. In some cases, amendment meetings will need to be held, and we'll give you a date to hold those, but we'll ask that you prioritize and get those done first so we could submit everything to the state that they're going to require. And as another note, Emily and I will both be out of the office from 9:25 to 9:27 for a staff retreat here with our office staff. So, we'll have limited availability to do any calls as well as answer any emails or texts. So we'll do that as we can, but any weekly calls or technical assistance calls that are scheduled during those 3 days will either be canceled or rescheduled by Emily or I. All right. So be looking forward to another attachment for a webinar. Mr. V is going to be doing one on the MFS funds, and that will be sent out as well. So upcoming and exciting as well is another one by Mr. V. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Emily or I. If not, we'll talk to you soon and hope you all have a great rest of the week.